Hello, welcome my Bulbers friends. In today's video we're going to talk about Superz Budapest Aura Extracted Perfume. And this is a perfume I actually bought in Budapest. I already released a video of me walking through the store. It was quite an experience. You got you walked in and it was all nice around it, and all around it, inside of it, and someone, walked up to you and said, "May I help you?" And what kind of fragrances you like, and then you get a table with, I don't know, 30, 40 different kind of perfumes, and oh, you like sweet, spicy fragrances? Let's try out this one. That was quite an experience. I made a video about it if you're interested. But this is a nice, fruity, sweet fragrance. And that's actually what intrigued me, because normally I go for the sweet, spicy fragrances, and the sweetness, I think always actually came from the vanilla. I'm not really a sucker for fruity fragrances, but this one I really like. Also the bottle. I hope the camera picks it up well. But let's talk about the notes, for it's a really interesting fragrance and it's quite linear. So that means that most of the time, you get the top notes, the mid notes, the base notes, but this fragrance doesn't change that much. It has different kind of fruity notes in it, but is also combined with a nice spices and oud, and it all comes together really well. It also has some citrus notes, but as you would expect, those are really just at the beginning, at the top of the opening of this fragrance, and flee in about half an hour. All right, let's talk about the notes. The notes are blackberry, pear, sandalwood, jasmine, bergamot, musk, pink pepper, praline, agarwood, and cardamom. As you can imagine, it has a nice berry vibe in it. Also, the pink pepper can, of course, come across like a red berry-ish vibe. So, a combination of the blackberry and the pink pepper really gives it a berry vibe, combined with some nice sweetness underneath. And it's really a fruity sweetness, and I think that's what the pear gives this fragrance. In the top, of course, you got also the cardamom, providing some much needed spiciness. In that it is a sweet resinous spice note. And what I would assume is the base, the foundation, if you will, of this fragrance is really, or the bones even, is really the agarwood, the oud, the musk, and the sandalwood. Sandalwood provides a little bit of creaminess in this sweet fragrance, and the oud really gives it some oudy sweetness, but also the oudy depth, if you will. It really provides you with the fragrance with a sweet, woody depth, which is really interesting, of course, about the oud. So if you combine it all together, you get, of course, this fragrance. And how does it smell? It smells like a fruity fragrance with some spices and oud. So it really is sweet fragrance. But if I tell you this, you might think that because of the oud, it's really dark, deep fragrance, and that's actually not how I perceive it. It doesn't smell like a Oud Royal or a fragrance of such kind. It really smells like a fruity, little bit spicy, sweet fragrance, which makes it really great, I guess, for the in-between seasons and perhaps even early winter. For summer, this one is probably, of course, it depends on where you live, but it's probably a bit too sweet and spicy. Well, it's not actually that spicy, but definitely too sweet for summer. If you can try this one, definitely check it out. And of course, if you're ever in Budapest, definitely check out the shop for. I really enjoyed it, sitting there and checking all those fragrances out. All right, I would classify this fragrance as a pretty long-lasting fragrance, not eternal, but some fragrances last 24 hours. This one, of course, depending on the humidity, the temperature, the amount of sprays, etc., etc., but definitely around the 12-hour mark. This is a long-lasting fragrance and lasts you like a little bit longer, or quite a bit longer actually than a work day, which is quite funny because the sillage or the projection of this fragrance actually is not that mind-blowing. It's quite moderate. It doesn't push out too much. It doesn't really fill a room. And also the scent trail behind you is not that crazy, is the word I was looking for. But it's definitely a fragrance that stands out, definitely for males, because I think there are not that much fruity fragrances that are also masculine. And that also comes down to, of course, that it's probably best to classify this one as a male-leaning unisex fragrance. It definitely has also a unisex vibe to it, which is, makes sense because of all the fruitiness in this fragrance, especially the sweetness of the pear, which gives it, of course, a little bit more of a feminine vibe. Sweet fragrances for men most often have a or a lavender vanillic vibe to really push the manliness of the fragrances. But this one really does it with the pear, which is really interesting. It's not like a little bit like Ultramil by Jean-Paul Gaultier. But yeah, it gives it a little bit of the unisex vibe. Again, definitely check it out. I really like this one. I actually have 2, perhaps 3 samples of other fragrances of Superz Budapest, so I might review them also in the future. But I really like this one, so definitely check it out. So thank you for watching. This was Aura by Superz Budapest. Ciao.